What's up, guys? It's your boy Bay. Want to wish everybody a happy holidays, happy New Year. Let's start 2020 off right. First video of 2020, and what I want to discuss is actually want to discuss a couple of things. First, I want to discuss New Year goals and New Year resolutioners, and basically, every year you kind of see the same people kind of post the same things about how they're going to change their life this year and they're going to do so many things and everything's going to be great and it's going to be a new them, and those people are kind of like serial New Year resolutioners, right? Here's the truth. If you want something, if you want a goal, you do it right then and there. At least you start making moves in that direction right then and there. You don't wait for a certain time, for you to say, okay, I'm going to do this, right? So anybody who's serious, right? Yo, I'm broke. I need to make money. You're going to go get a job. You're not going to wait till New Year's to be like, you know what? Let me finally go get that job. That's not how it works, right? So it's obviously, it can be a good idea if you want to work on something, you know what I'm saying? Or let's say it's New Year and you're like, you know what? I think this year I'm going to have a different outlook on life or something like that. But if you find yourself every year making these New Year goals and you never actually achieve it, then that's a problem. You're gonna have to change something about yourself and not wait around for New Year's to just kind of follow the hype. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it can be a good thing depending on how you use it, but in general, man, if you want something, do that shit now. To be honest, you know what I'm saying? Do that shit now. That's just my viewpoint on it. You know what I'm saying? But do whatever makes you happy. Second, I want to talk about this debate that's been going on for at least I think Dorian really started it. But it's probably been going on before then. I know Dorian is a big component to it. I know Lee Priest is a big component to it, and I know Samir Bannout as well. And it's basically just talking about how the 90s or the 80s or whatever era you want to say, it's so much better than this era, and these guys are lazy, they take too much drugs, they don't train hard, they're not in shape. That seems to be the biggest one, they're not in shape. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're not in shape, but anyways, that seems to be the conversation, that these guys are not in shape, they don't work hard. I think this shit is just going too far, man. It's going too far, man. Like, it's like if you ask anybody, anybody, about, it could be about anything. You know what I'm saying? If you go ask your dad, oh, hey, what do you think about today's music? They're gonna give you that same spiel. You know what I'm saying? Oh, music back in my day, that was real music. This music is fake. It's horrible. These guys are trash. They're gonna give you that whole thing because it's like a nostalgic thing. I'm sure in 30 years I'll be looking back and saying, wow, I can't stand this music now, and this music in my day was way better. It's kind of something you do for nostalgic purposes, right? So you got to be able to separate that. You know what I'm saying? I like music, in the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? I like G Unit and 50 Cent and Ja Rule. I love that kind of music. It's my kind of music. You know what I'm saying? But I don't go around and say the music now sucks. You know what I'm saying? I could say a lot of these artists are not for me, and I can't listen to whole albums anymore, really. But I still respect what people do. I still think there is good music out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a different era. It's different. Change isn't always bad. You know what I'm saying? You can still enjoy the things from the past and be able to respect the new things coming out. You know what I'm saying? Because the guys before you are probably saying the same thing. Oh, probably guys in the 80s are probably saying, well, back in, my days is better than Ronnie. You know what I'm saying? And Ronnie's saying back in, it's going too far. And Ronnie had an interview too, and he's talking about these guys couldn't place top 10 back in my days. And it's like, on what ground? On what ground? It's like they love to say guys these days are not in shape, and in their days everybody was in shape, and it's just not true. There's videos, go look. Some people were in shape, some people weren't. The guys in shape win, the guys not in shape don't win. Same thing today. The guys who are not in shape don't win shows. There's no competition winners that are out of shape. Nobody's just out of shape winning shows. If you're not in shape, you don't place. It's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Even at the amateur level, if you're not in shape, you don't win. So I think that's nonsense. And the funny part of if they actually listened, you will see that you actually have a lot more in common than you realize. I remember Fuad Abiyad was like, well, like I grew up, following the 90s guys, and that's my favorite era as well. You know what I'm saying? I thought their physiques was better in my opinion as well, but that doesn't mean we're lazy and we don't train as hard or train as heavy. You know what I'm saying? And we don't suffer and all of this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe they had a bigger gene pool. Maybe because there wasn't classic physique and physique, maybe there was more people bodybuilding, so there was a better gene pool. Okay, for whatever reason, that doesn't mean they're training harder or they're better, in that kind of way, or these guys are lazy, right? If you look at Flex and Chris Cormier and them, they'll be the first to tell you that they used to party and do this and cheat on their diet and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? You think, they were training harder and heavier than everybody today? No, they weren't. You know what I'm saying? They weren't. So they had great genetics though, but it's just getting old, it's getting worn out, the conversation is it's just going too far. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no proof. You can't take somebody out of the era and say, bro, Brandon can't place. Listen, back then guys didn't have glutes and hamstrings. Now that's the litmus test to see who's in shape, glutes and hamstrings. Back then guys didn't have it. They just didn't. You know what I'm saying? Not till Gaspari, probably the only one at his time to have it, And then you had Ronnie kind of decimated everybody with the glutes and hams, you know what I'm saying? But that was it. You know what I'm saying? People weren't walking around with striated glutes and crazy conditioned hamstrings, Yes, they was hard in upper body and even from the front lower body, but Chris and Flex and Lee Priest and all these guys didn't have this crazy shredded glutes. Like, they didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? So if that's the litmus test, then you can say guys now are in better shape, you know what I'm saying? But I don't believe striated glutes are everything, but it's definitely a huge indicator if you're in shape. So you can't make these accusations. And how do you figure guys trained harder back then? Because there's one video of Dorian where the guy's screaming in his face. Like, what constitutes training hard to you? The actual poundages? Because Dorian was rowing 405 and incline pressing 405. I'd do that. I could show you videos of me right now rowing 405 and incline benching 405. You know what I'm saying? But there's guys now doing way more than that. You can see Luke Sandow pressing 455? 455 for reps, easy. 200-pound dumbbells, easy. You know what I'm saying? Rowing, I think Luke was rowing 5 plates. You know what I'm saying? So does that mean he trains harder than Dorian because he's pushing more weight? It could. You know what I'm saying? And Dorian would do one set to failure per body part. Luke is doing several sets to failure, you know what I'm saying? Or a lot of guys are doing several sets with more weight to failure. Why? Because he doesn't have a British guy screaming in his face, one more. So he's not training hard because the guy is screaming in his face? That's nonsense. It's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Same with Ronnie. Ronnie had about 3 videos of him training really heavy. I do believe Ronnie trained heavy, but listen to what he's saying. He says in the videos, this is my first time doing this. He says it a million times, but it's my first time squatting 800 pounds. It's my first time deadlifting 800 pounds. So he was putting on a show for the camera, obviously, to give you something to watch. It was like entertainment, you know what I'm saying? He tells you he usually does 12 to 15 reps. He doesn't squat 800 pounds all the time, you know what I'm saying? So you got to take that with a grain of salt. Whereas you got guys nowadays, you see them on Instagram doing this thing week in, week out. You see Akeem Williams squatting 8 plates week in, week out. You know what I'm saying? You got, what's the guy's name? I think Luke trains with him now. He's in Britain. I forget his name. Oh, Hollingshead. You'll see him squatting 8 plates, benching 6 plates week in, week out. Not just one display for the camera, one time in his life. He does it regularly. So, you know what I'm saying? So if the poundage, if we talking poundages, guys these days are smashing that weight. The late Dallas McCarver, and you got Akeem, you got Luke Sandow, you got Josh Lenardowitz. You got these guys knocking, he doing what, 4 or 5 lunges? Like, what? It doesn't even make sense what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So if we talking poundages, we smoking the guys in the 90s. It is what it is. There's no hate. They had great physiques, but if you want to say we're not training hard, guys nowadays are smoking the guys in the 90s as far as poundages. You know what I'm saying? And this is consistently, not just one video. You know what I'm saying? What, we need somebody screaming in our face? That's what you need. That's easy. We could set that up. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta let that go, man. Let it go. Your time was great. The '90s were great. Early 2000s were great. '80s were great. Every time is great. The greats are always gonna be great. But give the guys today their credit. Okay? Period. And that's basically what I'm trying to get across. Give guys their credit. We all train hard. We're bodybuilders. You know what I'm saying? How about after you retire, you talk positive about your sport to promote your sport instead of trying to put down your sport about how trash they are nowadays. You know what I'm saying? We look up to you guys coming into sport. We all look up to you guys. So we respect your era and we love your era because that's what we grew up watching and learning from you guys. So don't spit in the guy's face now saying they don't train hard, they don't do this, they don't do that, they're lazy. How? Like, are you at home seeing like what what guys are taking? How you know they take more than you guys? You don't know that. You don't. You're assuming that. You know what I'm saying? You're assuming that. But it's a different game. They're the judges are gonna reward fullness with conditioning. If they only rewarded conditioning, no fullness, guys wouldn't care to come in full and big. They would just come in, shredded. The judges control that, not us. So we're gonna come in as full as we need to win. That's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and not to harp too much on this conversation, but I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like it's just getting way out of hand. Like, give guys the respect, man. Give respect where it's due. You got a guy like Phil Heath. You gonna tell me he's not in condition? I could say he was in better conditioning than everybody back in the days, and full and round. So, you know what I'm saying? So, you can't just take Ronnie and use him as an example for every single person in his era. He was the only one pushing that weight. He was the only one coming in that hard. So you can't just take that one guy and say he stands for everybody back then, and then you look at today and you say, oh no, they're just all soft. What about Phil? What about Roden? What about the guys who are always hard, who are always ripped? But anyways, that's it, guys. So my New Year's sale is actually still going on. I had it going on to the second. I'm gonna extend it a bit because I had a few people telling me that they want to sign up this week. So I'm gonna give it to the end of the week. So today is the second. Today is the second, I think. I'll give it to the. I'll give it to the. I'll give you guys to the 7th. How about that? I'll give you guys to the 7th. Sign up. It's gonna be 50% off my online coaching. Don't miss out. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave comments under the video of anything you guys want to see, in the future, and see you guys next time. Gains. Peace.